right, everybody, welcome back to this week's edition of the Anarchy Arena Podcast. We have something slightly different and a little interesting for you, hopefully. This week, we had an invasion in our home, so we decided to use it to our advantage. We had the invasion of the former Puddle Pirate Garden Gnome, who is living on our couch for the weekend. Our good friend, Mr. Matthew Karg from college, is visiting for the weekend, so we thought we'd take the opportunity we had at hand and ask him to be on the show and talk about his rather eclectic past, having done many things all the way from being a member of the Coast Guard to brewing beer and pretty much everything in between. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matthew Karg.
Yay!
What's going on? Thanks for having me on, guys.
He's so cool. He's the best. All right.
Autographs $5 each.
$5,
Sweet. Yes.
Like you can't.
That's
even
more
give
than we've
them
ever
away.
made on this show.
Ah shit.
$5 make you holla.
Ah shit. Need to get some fucking 8x10s.
Right.
So Karg, welcome to the podcast. This is your first time here.
Thank you, sir. It is.
You have, like Chris said, you've lived a bit of an eccentric life. Give us a little bit of a rundown, even though Chris did a wonderful introduction. Give us a little bit of rundown from your perspective. Who is Matt Karg?
I'm the weird garden gnome that lives on the sofa.
All right, cool. Episode over. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And we'll
yeah. No, everyone, we're good. We're fine. Everything's great. Yeah. No, this guy is one of, like, if you've listened to this podcast, you've heard us tell stories about college and parties and shit like that. This guy,
everything ever stupid that happened, he's usually at the center of it.
Yeah, he's usually the first or second one to try.
I'm not that bad.
Yeah, you were. You're not.
Okay.
Like, lighting hats on fire, lighting your hands on fire after covering them in hand sanitizer.
Lighting your cigarette off a bowl of flaming Everclear.
That hurt too.
Maybe
I think I lost some facial hair to that one.
Maybe that's why subconsciously you went for the Coast Guard, because you played with too much fire and you decided, I'll try water for a change.
Yeah, at least I can jump in and put it out if I light myself on fire again.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Sorry.
I think the worst one was when I filled my mouth up with that lighter fluid from a lighter and just spit fire. That did not go well.
Yeah, no shit. Didn't that, like, blow back into your mouth?
I snorted it on accident. Like, I breathed through my nose and pulled fire up my nose. I could smell burning hair for like 2 weeks.
Jesus, talk about unpleasant. Good God. So we touched obviously on the Coast Guard. You are a retired member of the United States Coast Guard.
That is correct.
And what exactly was your field of expertise while you were a puddle pirate?
Best described as jack of all trades, master of none. But so I was a bosun's mate. So my primary job was driving boats, basically. But on top of that, I worked as EMT, classified communications control, and law enforcement.
And what would you say was probably your favorite out of those three job descriptions to do?
The one I didn't mention, search and rescue. I wasn't a big fan of the law enforcement or the driving boats was fun, especially in bad weather. But when it was for the purpose of search and rescue, I had a lot of fun doing it.
Wait, they let you drive boats in good weather, let alone bad weather?
Yeah, and the only one that I ever ran aground was in good weather.
That's somehow not surprising.
It was a soft one. It was just like a sandbar.
Right, so
not too much damage to the cutter.
No, well, it wasn't a cutter. It was a small boat.
Oh, okay. Well, like, if you don't mind talking about it, like, where did you primarily serve during your time as a coastie?
So I started in the same place as all coasties in Cape May, New Jersey. That's where our boot camp was. After that, I went to Humboldt, California. Joke's on me. Quit doing certain things to join the Coast Guard, and they send you to the epicenter.
Right, like... By the way, you can talk about it. We don't give a shit. This is the...
okay, cool. All right,
this is the Anarchy Arena Podcast for a reason.
Yeah, we don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's what it's called? I thought it was the Bitch and Buddies.
No, that's Chris's side project.
Shh, no one knows about that yet.
Yeah, Chris is going to try to go solo on me, guys.
Oh boy.
It always happens now. But yeah, so you went from like the biggest pothead I knew to burning weed. How does it feel to be a tool of the man?
Oh, wait, there we go.
How does
Sorry?
it feel to be a tool of the man?
Tool of the man. I don't know. It was fine. They paid me all right.
So I do know there was a couple of occasions where you called and you were half like, this is a really cool thing, and half like, this is a really sad thing about possibly dumping illicit substances into possibly some very deep trenches in the middle of the ocean.
I mean, it's got to go somewhere, right?
I'm obviously not naming any specific places for a reason.
I couldn't even tell you where the specific place is. I don't even know.
I was about to say, do you have the coordinates? Because if you know,
I've killed a lot of brain cells since then.
That's fair.
yeah,
And before then.
and before then, true.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have many left.
I think you're at half.
That's okay. They're
I think
overrated.
yeah, they are kind of overrated, but I think he's at half now, like half one.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, after California, went to Guam. That was probably the most fun place to serve.
What'd you do in Guam?
A lot of rowdy shit. No, I worked on a small cutter out there. It was mostly most of our missions were at least like humanitarian and international treaty enforcement, things like that. Search and rescue, obviously. But the extracurricular activities were really where the fun was.
Such as?
Well, I mean, it's Guam, so there's like scuba diving. There's it's a beautiful little island to explore.
Yeah.
There's,
Get rid of the PG shit. We want to hear the good shit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I plead the fifth.
How often did you fight with your cock?
All right, so yeah, there was cockfighting out there. That was pretty fun. You know, you go out there and throw out a couple bucks on some chickens fighting. You know, looking back, it wasn't the most humanitarian thing to do, but they had stadiums built just for cockfighting. So, you know, you want to experience the local culture.
So, like, wait a minute. When you say stadiums, because I've been to a cockfight myself.
Okay, not like an NFL-sized stadium.
Right.
You're talking like this place is like a circular arena in the middle, and then like little aisles where the people taking bets would walk around, and then maybe 150, 200 people.
Damn, that's still a lot of fucking people. The ones I've been to are like 15 at most.
That's a big crowd to watch some chickens beat each other up.
Yeah, you gotta be careful who you wave at, because like depending on how many fingers you hold up when you wave at somebody and like what angle they're at is how much money you just accidentally bet. Whoops. What do you mean I bet $200? I just said what's up, man.
You put up 2 fingers. That means you bet 200. Like,
Yeah.
Now, I know that wasn't the only highlight in Guam, because there's a specific story I remember you telling over and over. What was one of the other highlights for a young man of the sea out there in Guam?
I'm trying to remember what story you're referring to.
Well, if I remember correctly, apparently, according to your retelling of it, the people of Guam like to ship in American women to work in certain establishments.
Oh, yeah. So my next door neighbors were a couple of ladies who like to take their clothes off for money. But no, they were I had a bunch of strippers that lived next door, and they would always come over in like the middle of the night and like bang on the door, or we would go there and we would get to hang out with them all day, and you kind of felt like a badass because you had all the strippers hanging out with you and you weren't spending any money. Yeah, that resulted in some really wild evenings. Next thing you know, there's naked women running around your apartment. You're like, oh shit, how did this happen? I am awesome.
Well, I'm sure you felt that way until I believe you told me your dad video called you during one of those escapades. And what exactly did he say to you during that call?
Oh, was this the one where he called me a misplaced sperm cell?
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. He told me I was a misplaced sperm cell because he video called me, and there was all these drunk girls hanging around me, and they realized it was my dad on the phone, so they're all like, "Oh, hey!" And yeah, he's like, he called me a misplaced sperm cell. Was basically the moral of the story, which is probably true.
yeah, I think you're not the fastest one, but you definitely were the most effective one. Like,
it's not that I'm quick; I'm crafty.
Right.
Yeah, he somehow out-clevered the other ones.
listen, I know we give him shit for being dumb, but I will be the first one to fucking say that Matt is quite possibly the best street knowledge that out of our group of friends. Like,
I would agree with that statement.
Man, that's
the
nicest backhanded compliment I've ever heard.
No, I don't mean that backhanded. I mean that 100%. Like, you know how to get out of horrible situations, like scratch free. You come out of shit smelling like roses 90% of the fucking time.
Somehow, luck. I think that's really all it can be.
It can't be just luck, though, man. It's happened too many times for you to not for it to be luck. You'd eventually get fucking caught.
You would think. I mean, we've had some close calls with getting caught in the past. I think, Chris, were you there the night at the end of the road?
Depends which time. There were lots of them, and not all of them I remember. No, I was not there for that particular incident.
Oh, I don't know how we got away scot-free on that one.
Wait, what happened?
Luck, again.
Some of our viewers don't know that one, so tell us.
Okay, so I won't use names. We'll call them people. I was gonna come up with fake names, but I'm not quick enough. So I was there with 3 of the others of our group of friends from college. We went to this place, which may have come up on this podcast before, the end of the road, a little hangout spot, and we were down there smoking illicit substances because we couldn't do it in the dorm rooms. And we look up behind us, we see some headlights coming down. We're like, okay, whatever. It's just somebody coming down to turn around. It happened. Then a little third light appeared in the corner, and we realized what it was. At the time, I was the one with the bowl in my hand, so I'm panicking, what do I do? Somebody else is lighting an incense. Let's not make it obvious, guys.
And,
yeah.
Oh man,
cops come up.
It smells like weed out here. Let's light an incense. They'll never figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you guys doing? It's we're just staring at the stars. We've been studying for, I think it was around midterms, so we said midterms. Obviously, we weren't studying. I don't think any of us graduated.
Nope.
Well, one did, right? One did?
Yeah,
one did. You're right. One out of what, the 5 or 6 of us?
Yeah, more like the 15 of us, but go ahead.
But, yeah, so the cops came up to the window, took our IDs, went out and ran them. They're sitting in their car for a little while. They're coming back. They're handing the IDs back out. And I remember they're handing one of us our names. They're handing me my ID, and I had to cross. I was on the back passenger side, and he was at the driver front, so I had to cross over, and he kind of crossed in to hand it to me. And I held onto it for a second, paused and pulled back. And apparently he had a partner this whole time that I didn't notice. He was do you smell marijuana? And they're kind of I think I do. No, it must just be the tobacco. It's okay, guys. You guys, they knew. They
just wanted to fuck with you. That's all they wanted to do. They
wanted to fuck with you, and then at the end of the day, they didn't want to do the paperwork.
Yeah, who wants to arrest 4 people? We were no, we were all at least 18, I think.
Yeah.
We weren't anymore, but who wants to do that kind of paperwork? I never did when I was in the Coast Guard. If I found somebody with a little baggie of weed, I was look, fix this situation, I'm going to turn around real quick.
Hey, problem solved.
You don't fix it, you don't fix it, I'm going to throw it in the ocean and make you feel really dumb about it.
How often did you have to do that?
When I was in Humboldt, it felt like it was pretty often. It probably wasn't, though.
So, how would they fix the situation? Would they just have to swallow it?
You just simply inform them that I need to have probable cause to look in a drawer. If I don't see probable cause, I'm not going to look in a drawer. You have drawers all around. Remove my probable cause.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's my question as a fellow drug taker. It seemed like you would be the type that, the probable cause thing, you wouldn't push it too far. But do you think that maybe right now, the way we treat drug laws, do you think that maybe probable cause has been overused for dumb shit reasons just so they can legally search and seize your car?
I don't doubt that. I mean, I haven't seen it. Coast Guard was a very different type of law enforcement than what people, officers out on the beat on our streets experience. But, I mean, you read some of the stories, and even not having all the details, you're like, really? Did you need to search them? What were you using there?
They were using the I smell...
It's something that I feel like a lot of people do take advantage of.
Well, they were using the I smell pot excuse, which,
which is bullshit.
It is bullshit. Thank you for saying that, former government person.
I mean, what?
That's what he feels about that.
I love my country.
Which part? Like, so you live in Coast Guard, and Coast Guard they mostly just do. You mostly did just drug enforcement, right? Like you didn't see active combat, right?
No, I never saw any sort of active combat. It was mostly we would run narcotics interdictions type stuff. And then, but mostly that's
wow.
Weird. Most
All
of
right.
what it was most of what it was like mom and pop type, boats, boarding them, checking for safety gear. Like most of the law enforcement we did was water safety and environmental and fisheries enforcement. Most of it wasn't drug related. Some of it was, but not a lot.
So what was the dumbest fucking thing you've had to pull a boat over for? Or like, just like, like it almost like you almost wanted to help them. They were so dumb.
Man, this is gonna sound bad. The dumbest people I ever saw on a boat was actually a group of coasties.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Oh, this should be good. This should be good.
We were coming into port, and on the base you can rent boats, and a group of other coasties had rented the boat, and were probably doing a little bit of drinking, and we're just driving around erratically, cutting across our bow. When we were looking at them in the binos, like, oh, we know them. Well, this is easy. We're not even going to stop them. We're just going to call the command center. I think they got in a lot of trouble for that.
The kind of trouble that you can't just talk your way out of.
Yeah. And I wasn't on this patrol. This was our sister ship that saw this one, but they stopped a jet ski with a bunch of, I think they said like 10 people hanging onto the side of it trying to immigrate to Guam from one of the other islands, which I didn't even realize was really an issue, but apparently Guam's a U.S. territory. There's some sort of naturalization law in there somehow. I don't know for certain areas, but
I can't imagine trying to hang on to a jet ski, though.
Yeah, it's a long ride. I mean, it's not quick. It's probably like 200 miles. They're holding on.
Well,
yeah, no thank you.
That's some dedication to get out of your shitty situation. Like,
True.
Mad props.
Like,
Yeah.
But we had said that you're not Coast Guard anymore. You're retired Coast Guard, and you're our age. So I'm sure there's a lot of people going, wait, how in the fuck is he retired at 30-something? So why are you not in the Coast Guard anymore?
All right. So when I was 24 in Guam, I had started to lose a whole bunch of weight, and I wasn't in my command's words, my work ethic had declined, and I personally did not feel too well. And so they sent me in to take a whiz quiz because they were convinced I decided to start doing serious drugs. Guam had a pretty big meth problem. They thought I jumped on board with that, I think. But I got to the clinic, peed in the cup. The doctor saw my pee and instantly said, nope, you're not on drugs. Go to the emergency room. Didn't really tell me what was going on. But I get to the emergency room and I walk in and they're like, oh, Petty Officer Karg, come back now. Like, they were already expecting me. Like, okay, this is cool. This probably isn't good. I sat in a bed for a while and they finally come in. They're like, well, got bad news and more bad news. You're a type 1 diabetic and you're going to lose your job. So I ultimately was forced retired from the Coast Guard after being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Because if I remember you telling me correctly, type 1 diabetes makes you non-deployable, right?
Correct, because I'm insulin dependent. So, like, a type 2 diabetic can typically control their diabetes with, a healthier diet, regular exercise, and maybe oral medication at a point. With type 1 diabetes, my body no longer creates insulin, so I have to either inject it or use a pump.
Which has led to some very funny conversations out in public of people wondering, what is that? And we like to fuck with them and tell them it's his methadone pump.
Yeah, when I first got it, I was very bitter when people, about the whole situation. People would bring it up or ask questions because, you see it. You're like, what is that thing that looks like a 1980s pager clipped to your belt with a hose going inside of you? And so I had one lady, I was at the pool at my condo in Guam while I was still waiting for all my discharge stuff to go through. I was hanging out at the pool with a buddy. The lady stops me and asks me, she's like, what is that hanging on your side? It's like, I turned to her very seriously. I was like, I'm a recovering heroin addict. It's my methadone pump. Instantly gathered her children and left.
You're like, hey, it's been great. I've been 4 days sober.
I'm 12 minutes sober.
Hey, you got heroin? Like, I mean, I jokingly refer to it as his boner pump. You know, that way he can please the ladies. But let's be honest here, Karg, that hasn't happened in the first 30 years of your life. It ain't happening now.
No, not a chance.
But
not with a 10-foot pole.
Well, you wouldn't even know.
Which you certainly don't have.
Yeah, no. He's also
10
he's
centimeter.
also one of the few men whose dick I have seen. So, in real life.
And now that's out on the internet for everybody to know.
Fuck them.
I hope my parents don't listen.
I hope they do, because they need to know.
They already do. We talk.
Yeah.
You know, since I've gotten older, you know, you talk to your parents, they figure out all the dumb shit you got away with that they didn't know about, and they pretend they knew about it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we knew. It's like, no, you didn't. If you knew, you'd be fucking calling me every day.
Yeah, no, don't sit there and lie to me. You didn't know shit.
Yeah, like...
You'd be thankful I'm still alive. Only probably are thankful I'm still alive.
So we get medicaled out of the Coast Guard for type 1 diabetes. What's the next on the game plan? What happened next?
So, my parents were teaching overseas. They were actually teaching in Kuwait at the time, maybe? Can't remember which. But when I first got out, so I went back and house sit for them for a few years while I went to college. My second stint in college didn't work out too well. Was it
almost like the first stint?
It went a little bit better. Like, I got A's on some stuff, but I kind of just don't like school, I think. So I didn't really do too well. So that didn't go too well. And then, so I lived in Atlanta for a little while, and then I decided I was home brewer at the time, brewing at home. I learned to do that while I was in the Coast Guard. Decided, well, I enjoy doing this. Why not try and make it a job? So that's when I moved to North Carolina, where there was more breweries at the time, and went to school for brewing and distillation. And brewed for a while after that. Yeah,
I remember one of the first times you talked about it, I had gone down to your folks' house while you were house sitting, and you decided that we were going to do a backyard batch. And I was amazed that it was possible to do it in the backyard, and then amazed at the level of stupidity involved because of what we ended up naming that brew.
Which one was that? That was that coffee.
That was Elbows Deep.
That's right. Yeah, because I dropped my phone in it.
So it's like, midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that, by the time it's finally done and you're ready to do the grav reading. And he's trying to hold the meter in the Gatorade thing that we're using to brew this in, and he drops his phone in and has to fish into hot fucking brewing shit to get his phone out, which, incidentally, I don't think it worked after that, did it?
No, I think it survived. Not well. Like, it didn't work properly. But it did survive after a night in rice.
So we named that brew Elbows Deep in honor of the sacrifice of his phone to that beer. We had a bunch of names.
Inoculation.
Have you tried to
I had like a.
I was gonna ask. Have you tried to rebrew Elbows Deep?
I have not. Something about its origins just kind of like, you know what? That's best left alone.
We did manage to make a couple other really good ones, though.
We did, because you did the vanilla bean porter with me, right? The chocolate vanilla porter?
Yeah, we did that one. That one came out really well.
What did we call that one?
I don't remember that one. You did the cherry wheat one, I know, because you sent it, or was it cherry or strawberry? Whichever one it was, it was some kind of berry that, like, overtook the rest of the brew after it had sat for a really good while, and it just turned into a straight-up berry beer. It was still good as fuck.
Yeah, it was raspberry.
That was what it was. It was raspberry.
Raspberry, coffee, and chocolate. That was one me and so one of my friends ended up going to brewing school with me and moved up to Asheville with me, and that was one that me and him did, Ben. And we called that one, I think it was Midnight Delight. That one I still have the recipe for. I might rebrew that sometime soon. That's a good one. So, especially when it was fresh.
Yeah, it was really good. So we decided to take backyard brewing and go, I might be able to do this for a living. So how'd that come about? How does that process work, going from brewing in a Gatorade bucket in your backyard to working at a brewery?
Well, so I was in school for a while, and I had become introduced to the owners of this small brewery out in this little village near Asheville called Chimney Rock. And their head brewer at the time was leaving to go to a larger brewery, and they asked me to take over the position. Took several years to figure it out, but it turns out I was just wasting my time and energy on somebody's hobby. But figured it out eventually. But yeah, so for about 4 or 5 years, I was their head brewer. I designed all their recipes, brewed all their beers. It was a really small brewery, no distribution or anything like that. But I mean, it was a good learning experience to say the least.
So, wait. You said it was basically someone's hobby?
Yeah, he wasn't prepared to invest the kind of money you needed to invest into a brewery to, get to the volume of production that you needed to be at to have the equipment to do it right and well and consistently. And the brewery suffered because of that. They have done that now since I have left. They've opened up a second facility that they're brewing out of. But yeah, he didn't. They didn't have the money to invest into it to do it perfectly or do it right, and we were brewing at a very small volume, so we were constantly running out of beer, and it just wasn't a good business model. Beautiful location.
Yeah, because the pictures, the pictures and shit I've seen of that brewery, it was in a wonderful location.
Yeah, it was situated right on a river in Chimney Rock State Park. Or if you were a local, it was either Cock Rock or Chode Point. Or basically, it looked like a big penis on the side of a mountain. I don't know if you have a way to impose like a picture if you do it on like the little screen there, but you should totally should, because it's a chode in the sky.
I'll have to look that up and put it in there.
Yeah, a little bit of splicey splice, if you will. But yeah, I thought that place was doing good just based on what you said. I don't know, maybe that was just you being wishful thinking.
I mean, we were doing well, especially in the summer months. We were packed out, lines out the door, selling out of beer, and it was great. But that area is so seasonal. To get through the winter and the not tourist season, you had to have money in the bank. I mean, we did really well with the locals. We did some events to keep locals coming around, but we had a very small indoor space. So once winter hit, is kind of not a whole lot you can do. I mean, we had heaters on the deck, but you can only have so many people crowded around a little deck heater.
So
there was mostly outdoor space,
right? So okay, so here's an interesting one. Tell us some of the things that go into brewing beer that you don't think the common person would ever think of, like Joe Schmo cracking open his can of favorite whatever probably wouldn't realize XYZ about brewing beer.
I mean, there's all kinds of crap you can put in beer. I mean, basic ingredients, grain, water, yeast, hops. But I mean, you can do fruits in beers. You can put different kinds of plants in beers, spices, herbs. We looked into doing one with kudzu because we wanted to make as local of a beer as we could. And kudzu takes over the mountains in the spring and summer times. If you don't know, it's a very invasive vine that grows all over the Appalachian Mountains and probably elsewhere too. But we looked into it, and it turns out there's a chemical in the root of kudzu that will make you mildly psychoactive. It'll make you feel drunker quicker. And I decided I didn't want to be the brewer responsible for that, so we never did that beer, unfortunately. But I put pine cones in beer.
Wait, pine cones? How did that even...
Pine.
Yeah, pine cones. How the fuck did that even taste?
Yeah. Well, I say pine cones. It was really the nibs, so the baby version of a pine cone before it expands out and dries. But you get that real pine sappy flavor out of them. It was all right. I've done hibiscus beers. That's probably my favorite one to use. Hibiscus, it does really well in beer.
Yeah, we've had hibiscus beer a couple of times. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, this wasn't my beer. This was one of my other buddies who was brewing at a brewery that was willing to be a little bit more experimental in downtown Asheville. They did a pizza beer. So they ordered pizza and brewed in the fermenters.
Like a 3-meat pizza into a fermenter?
I don't think they had meat on it, but I think it was just a cheese pizza. But yeah, they just threw it in the fermenter to hope that it would take up some of those flavors. It didn't really.
Yeah, I was about to say, that doesn't sound like it would work. In my limited knowledge of chemistry science, that just, no. I'm sitting here in my head going, that doesn't work.
Soaking things into beer during the fermentation process is a pretty common way to extract flavors. But, because, once the beer is fermented, it's alcoholic, and you can use the alcohol as, use it for the extraction, get flavors and other things out of it. In fact, that's how you would do it if you were making a beer with marijuana.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
I'm not saying I've done it before, but I've done it.
Wait,
how'd that turn out?
One bottle, you're good for the night.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, it's all I really needed.
So like you've lived kind of a very eclectic life. You've done things that a lot of people that may listen to this show, and hell, people that don't even listen to this show, will never be able to experience, because you're a lot like me, where it's kind of like, yeah, just fuck it, let's go with the flow.
That's kind of how I wound up doing all that random crap.
Because I remember when you said you were going into the Coast Guard, I think I was one of the few that thought you could do it, but I didn't know how long you would last. And you surprised
the rest of us were convinced you wouldn't make it out of basic.
Yeah, I was like, he'll make it out of basic. I don't know how much of a career he'll make out of it, but he'll make it out of basic. Like,
I ended up really enjoying it. I wanted to do 20. I probably would have. I don't know if I actually would have stuck it out that long, but at the time I wasn't completely burnt out on it.
Well, would you
have 5 years?
Yeah, about 5 years, 5-6 years. But even if you would have done 20, like, would you have done 20 if you were going to other places, or would you have done 20 if you were just sticking in Guam?
I wanted to go other places. Before I found out I was getting kicked out, I was already I was getting close to that time where I would transfer, and I was looking at other places. Like, there's the option to go out to Bahrain for a little while, which would have been a fun little tour, I think. Then obviously anywhere in the continental U.S. I was kind of interested in the idea of going up to like the Northeast, like maybe like Boston or something like that. Just experience different places. You know, I had the opportunity to maybe go to Alaska as well, which would have been fun, but I don't think I want to live in Alaska. I think I just visited.
Yeah, nobody wants to live in Alaska.
I mean, I've had some friends that have done it. They like it. It's a cool place.
Yeah,
for sure.
The people that live in Alaska have previous felonies. Yeah, and I say that with love, because I have a friend who also lived and worked in Alaska, would go back in a New York minute. But yeah, like, if you could say you've had like any regrets regarding those experiences in your life, what would you say it would be? Or do you even have any?
I like to say I don't have any, but I probably do. I don't know. I don't want to say I regret any of the decisions I made. I wish I thought some of my life decisions through a little better. I might be in a better situation now had I actually tried at school, or Yeah,
but I mean, to be honest with you, man, and I'm saying this from me as well, it's college isn't for everybody, and some people just need to learn that the hard way. I don't regret going to college, because that's how I met you motherfuckers. But I think I don't know, like, it's weird. You're like the one person that I know that I can honestly say probably doesn't really have major regrets. Like, you have some, but you don't have any that are like you seriously hate like the situation you're in.
I think the only reason I don't have regrets is because I look at where I'm at now in life, and while I wish my situation could be better, I'm happy. Like, I have great friends like you guys. My current job that I'm in, I enjoy doing it. It's a fun new challenge, and keep things interesting. I'll probably get bored of it one day and go to something else completely random and off the wall. But
so
what's the point of life? You're not having fun.
You're almost like a traveler through careers. Just you decide to do one for a while, enjoy it. When you get done with it, like, okay, time for something new.
Yeah, maybe it could happen. I don't know. I'm still enjoying it now. So I have no intentions of doing anything else right now, but it could happen one day.
If you had to pick, like, you had all the money in the world, money was an issue, dream career.
Race car driver.
That's terrifying.
No.
I've seen you drive regular cars.
Exactly. That's the reason why you'd be great as a race car driver. There's no one else out on the road. Everyone else out on the track would be able to keep up with him. Like,
Well, I've told you guys about the like the Lemons race team that I've kind of been working
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Right?
Talk about that a little bit.
All right, so if you're not familiar, the 24 Hour of Lemons is basically a parody of a big race they do in France every year, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. 24 Hours of Le Mans requires billions and billions of dollars in manufacturers' support to race in. Not something I'm capable of achieving. But with 24 Hours of Lemons, it is attainable by the average man. You have $500 budget to spend on your vehicle. Any car you can think of under the sun that you can purchase for $500 can be entered into this race. So it is a race of junkers. And me and my buddies have purchased a 1986 Nissan 300ZX for about $500. Stripped it all out, put a roll cage in it, put new brakes on it. Safety doesn't count towards your budget, so you can spend all the money you want on brakes, roll cage, fire suppression, that kind of thing. They want you to live. And we're hoping to be ready by a race in December in Atlanta and race this little piece of crap car around Road Atlanta for a long time and see what happens.
So how did that come about? How did the idea to get into this come about? Because that's a pretty off the wall thing. Like, I'm gonna go race a piece of shit that I bought for $500. That sounds like a good time.
So how it really happened? There's a big race that they do in Atlanta every year called the Petite Le Mans, which is like the final race of the American Endurance Series for IMSA. It's a big race, like it's a huge turnout. We go camp the entire week for like the warm-ups, the practice, the qualifying, and the final event finally. And it's the same group of friends that I've done this with for, probably like 8 years now. I don't know. But we always joke about it because we knew they did the Lemons race at this track. I'm like, man, that would be really fun to compete in. And now we're all grown up and we have grown-up jobs and we're like, shit, if we split the cost of doing this, it's achievable. We can race in this. Let's do it. So we did some research for a little while, shopped around cars, saw this car pop up for sale in South Carolina. Got together one weekend, drove down, looked at it, like, yep, this is the winner. Gave him his money, went back a week later, towed it up to North Carolina, started stripping all the interior out. Let's do this. Let's dive in head first and see what happens.
Now, I'm sure there's some rules about what the aesthetics of your car can be. In case no one's told you, you cannot paint giant dicks on your car for a 24-hour race.
Hey, fuck you. Yes, he can.
They probably let you. They would probably let you in this race.
He's gonna put.
I mean, I haven't seen anybody with giant dicks on their car, but
great. Now I just gave him that idea. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh no. So we dubbed our car "Shake and Brake Racing." You know, as a not only like a joke on Ricky Bobby, but shake and brake like the chicken covering, like breading. And so our car's gonna have a chicken theme that's very 80s color scheme.
Nice. Fucking simple.
I like it.
Bullshit. Yes.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be real fun.
So how far along is the car right now?
It doesn't start.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, that's generally.
We got a fuel delivery issue somewhere. I mean, we have a long ways to go before it's race ready, and we're running very short on time.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Getting there.
We are slowly but surely getting there.
So.
But right now, it just lives in my basement and collects dust.
So what's the is that the only Lemons race for the year, or are there going to be more, or how does that circuit work?
This is the only one we'll be able to participate in this year. Keeping in the tradition with the standard American Endurance Series, Atlanta is the season finale, unless COVID changes that somehow, I'm not sure. But so Atlanta will be the only one we compete in next year, but they do them all over the country all year, and then the year after that, provided the car survives this first stint and we kind of get a little bit of experience, a better idea how it all works, we hope to compete in all the ones that we can get to, at least in the Southeast. So they do a couple in South Carolina. There's actually supposed to be one this weekend in South Carolina, which is why I had the weekend off. But COVID.
Yay,
and,
COVID.
Car not start.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that'd be an issue, too.
Just a small one.
And
you could probably push start it, right? Like,
I mean, we could. I don't know how long it stays starting, though, if it has a fuel delivery issue. We're hoping that it's just something easy, but we haven't really dug too far into it yet.
Have you tried duct tape yet?
You know, there's no duct tape on the car yet.
I'm ashamed of you.
There's zip ties.
Okay, that's somewhat passable then. You're well on your way.
Definitely use some WD-40. All the redneck garage tools are being used at some point, I'm sure.
So, bottle of liquor for the stick shift then?
No, we actually have a really nice stick shift knob that somebody gifted one of the guys on our team from a car meet. Like, sweet.
Well, there you go.
From a Nissan Nismo. It's nice and weighted.
So, since you don't have to pay for it, it doesn't count towards the cost, right?
I mean, no. So the way they judge your cost, it's not like you hand them a cost sheet. This is what we paid for everything. So you get there and you have to go through 2 inspections. The first one is your tech inspection, make sure the car's safe. The second one they call the BS inspection. And this is where it gets really fun. So you could spend as much money on your car as you want, but for every $10 they think you spent more than $500, they're going to assign you a penalty lap. So you have to convince them, lie to them, hide your upgrades, cheat, or bribe them in order to get as few penalty laps as possible.
And this,
so people will bring them alcohol, food, parts for their own project cars, and things like that.
So this is pretty commonplace among the racers. That it's not like some underground thing. Like, no, we flat out admit to doing this.
I think the running joke with everybody that, at least from like the people I've talked to, is $500 my ass. And it was like, $500 my ass you spend on that car, and you'll get penalty laps for it. So like some people will show up with these really cheaty, cars that they spent several grand on. Well, they're going to spend the whole race just getting to zero. Our goal is to get as few penalty laps as possible where a mildly good performance is still achievable.
So, again, like I said, Karg, you're a guy that's done a lot of shit, and you wear a lot of different hats. It's strange, because people had this misconception about you in college, which could be justified, could not be justified, that you didn't have a drive. Do you feel like it's like your drives are not what you do for a job or what you think you should do, but doing what you want to do?
Oh, that's 100% my drive. I think I'm just not motivated like the normal person is. I like to earn money. That can motivate me, obviously, but, if it's not something I want to do it.
Okay.
Which just shot me in the ass.
Right. Well, a couple of times. I mean, it's shot all of us in the ass at some point. We've all done something that we thought we wanted to do, and then by the end of it, we're like, this kind of sucks.
Life's about learning the hard lessons, right?
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
So far.
But, the question, I guess, this might be a bit of a short episode today, because we're mostly trying to get out of here and get drunk, to be honest with you. But,
amen.
But,
i.e., he's bored of talking to me. He realized this was a dumb idea. He's not that interested.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I hate speaking with you. Every time you come down, I throw a fucking fit. It's horrible. We've told some great college party stories on this podcast, and your name has come up, but you've never actually told a college story. What's one of your favorite memories of the first couple of years you were around when we were all in college?
Oh man, that's kind of hard to narrow down.
But I say so many to choose from, including the ones that you kind of half-ass remember.
I mean, so we had some great little fun. I think just collectively as a whole, my whole MTSU experience and all the friendships that came out of it, it's just the culmination of the whole life experience is my favorite. There were those fun times. I think one of my favorite parties is it was my birthday party actually, and you gave me a lap dance, John.
Isn't that the first time y'all met?
No. We met way before then.
Yeah, this was when you were at the point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it was the first time somebody met you, and that's how they met you, was John giving you a lap dance in his underwear.
It was the first time Billy ever met me.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't have we.
That has to be one of my favorite memories. I had a Hannah Montana accessory bag as a present, like
that he wore like 90% of. He was a pretty little 2-bit whore.
He was fabulous.
He was. No,
that's pretty.
no.
Good.
The first time I think me and Karg actually met, it was when we were in the dorms and we all like fucked off into our rooms to play Halo for have a LAN party for Halo. Which God, that was some of my favorite gaming moments. But that's the first time me and Karg met. I brought him into my room and we played Halo 2 on split screen. That's how we became.
So I met all of you guys because I would just sit on the stoop and smoke cigarettes.
Right.
That's how we pretty much met everybody.
Yeah.
And
I think.
But that's when you and me really met.
I think I have to apologize to you, to be honest, because half of meeting you involved getting you involved in our shitty little band.
Oh.
So I think I owe you an apology.
Oh my God.
Karg, do we want to tell him the story of the day you got fired from the band?
Not my say, for the record.
So, okay.
Wait, asking me to tell the story or Chris?
I mean, I can tell the story. Y'all can interject parts of it because I can only tell my part of it.
So I just got a phone call that's like, Matt, you don't practice anymore. You're out. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, and so then Karg calls me, and I think you were like, you were intoxicated in some form or fashion, which not surprising.
I was, because I was at work. This is when I was working at the recording studio.
Right. So I get a call from Karg here, and he's like, dude, you won't believe what happened to me. And I was like, I probably won't, but go ahead, hit me with it. He's like, I got fired. I got kicked out of the band. And I was like, congratulations? Like, are you?
Yeah. That's what it should have been, was congratulations.
We proceeded for 30 minutes on a phone call to riff that band to hell.
We were terrible. We were terrible.
Yeah, if you want to look them up, it's called A Perfect Puzzle, right?
Not just Perfect Puzzle.
Just
I don't know
Perfect
if you
Puzzle?
can find anything online. If you do, comment or
unfortunately,
tweet.
you can. No, you can. I recently befriended this girl, and she must have put in the effort to Googling me.
Oh, God.
Anyways, she found our YouTube channel, which is still out there.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, that would make an amazing episode. Just sitting back and watching the old videos.
It's what's on there? The music video we did for Unleash is on there, and a couple of our like video blogs.
I didn't think that was still around, to be honest.
Oh, it is. Nothing dies on the internet, unfortunately.
But that band. Can we talk about it like a little bit since Karg is here?
What about it specifically?
Well, first off, how many people actually believe that band was actually was going to be successful?
2 people. 2 people believe that, and neither one of those 2 people are on microphones right now.
Yeah, because to be honest, I think everybody else saw it for what it was. Like, oh, this is like a shitty college band.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We all had the pipe dream where it was like, oh man, being a rock star would be really fun.
Well, yeah, of course, but some of us were a little bit more realistic about it.
I mean, we would get stoned and fantasize about how cool it would be to be rich.
Right. I mean, and everyone does. That's the American dream, baby. But
yeah, buddy.
But yeah, like I remember being one of the more vocal ones that made fun of you guys on a daily basis, which pissed people off. But
I liked it. It kept me sane about it and rational and from getting sucked into the hype of it and just enjoy it.
Right. It was just like, I mean, Karg, and it's the reason why I love talking about this with Karg and Chris, because Karg and Chris were probably the only talented people out of the bunch.
And probably 2 of the more realistic.
Right.
I would not call myself talented by any
No,
means,
you
relative to the rest of the band.
No,
maybe.
you actually were a great guitar player back in the day.
Not
Well,
anymore.
just because you're out of practice. And Chris, as anyone that listens to the show knows, Chris is a bit of a fucking mastermind behind a mix board. So he can turn.
I certainly do my best. I can turn shit into slightly less shit.
Well, you can turn chicken shit into chicken salad, and it's a beautiful thing.
I appreciate that. That's a nice thing to say. Thank you, sir.
I mean it. Like I've always told you, you're great at mixing shit. It's just a shame that you get stuck in one fucking genre. You've thankfully branched out a bit, which I love.
Yes, and we'll be talking about that in future episodes.
Yes, we
news to be coming in.
But yeah, like the whole band, it just reeked of guys who thought they were gonna make it, and you know, I would be the jerk that would call them out on it, and it caused a lot of fucking friction. And you know, it was during a time, and it wasn't the only thing that caused friction, but it was during a time where me and Chris and a lot of my other friends didn't communicate. But the one person that I did hang out with all the fucking time from that group was Karg. Karg was kind of like the emissary. He would be the guy that would show up at your party that like, be like, hey, is that person still have a problem with me? Yes, they still have a problem with you. I can tell you exactly what it is. Blah 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 blah. But Karg never just left. I think it was mostly because of the free beer, but I also think it's a little bit about the friendship. Yeah, like
the free beer definitely had something to do with it.
Just a little bit. We're gonna have to cut it short here in a minute because we do have other people coming over. But if you guys could give like a little bit of your personal reflection on that band, what would it be? We'll start with Chris and then we'll end with Karg, and then we'll probably end the show after this.
Okay. So let's see. Personal reflection on the travesty that was Perfect Puzzle. So before Karg came in, we had another second guitarist who was awesome. Guy was way beyond us, and I think he was just humoring us, and I think he just wanted to be in a band until Karg came in. Not to sound egotistical and not to sound like that asshole, but 90% of the music was written by me and the drummer. 90% of it. There were bits and pieces thrown in by other people until Karg came in and helped write. Before he came in,
even you still did all the writing.
Huh?
Even you still did all the writing when I came in.
Well, but you were able to contribute far more than anybody else could besides our drummer. So yeah, 90% of the music was written by me, and at that time, my writing style was kind of shit.
You were just a sad boy.
A little bit. Let's not make bones about it. I was
boy band reject.
And the lyrics that went into some of those songs were not the best, and the vocals in all of those songs were not the best. Sorry, buddy, they weren't. You know who you are. I think looking back on it, had we taken it less seriously and just had fun with it, we probably could have been a relatively successful bar band, which would have been a great outlet and a great hobby, and I would have been happy at that. But I think there were too many people taking it way more seriously than it should have been. And the fact that we bounced around on a couple of different players. We bounced around on a second guitarist. We bounced around on bass players. We didn't have the balls at the time to kick out the guy who was our lead singer, which was one of our big detriments. I still look back at those songs on occasion. I still play them on occasion just as like a warm-up thing, because musically they're not terrible, but they're not great either. They're very much mediocre radio rock-esque with a little metal-y flair thrown in there. I think if we'd taken it a lot less seriously, it would have been a lot more fun, and it would have lasted a lot longer.
Karg.
I 100% agree with you. Had we taken it less seriously and did not let the drama affect friendships involved and everything, it would have been a lot more fun. I would not, I look back on it fondly and embarrassed by it, but it was fun. And it's fun to play shows. It's fun to get up and enjoy music. And I think had we viewed that as the goal the whole time and not we're going to be rock stars, I had a lot more fun doing it. But it was kind of like the glue that kind of kept us all like friends in the early years. So like I have That's about it. I think I wouldn't even call it a travesty. I think it was fun to do. I enjoyed it, every minute of it thoroughly, for the most part.
Except for that one time that we tried to have practice high. That was a bad idea. Don't try and play guitar high, kids, especially not in a semi-professional setting. Just bad idea.
By the way, y'all contributed to my alcoholism, forcing rum and shit down my throat for every practice.
Because you played
You're better when you're drunk.
At the time, you did play better. You were looser.
I mean, yeah. It's because I'm an overthinker. I always have been.
But yeah, no, like, even on the outside looking in, because I wasn't part of the band, obviously. Yeah, it seemed like some of you guys are having fun. Some of you guys are treating it like a business, and you know who you are, and that's the reason why, like, you guys are trying to be a Avenged Sevenfold, when in reality you were more like Psycho Stick.
We weren't even that good. Shit.
No, you weren't. But I'm just making a point here. Like,
I'll tell you what I'll do here, folks. I'll tell you what I do. Normally, for the outro, you've got the Anarchy Arena theme song playing in the background. I'll tell you what I'll do. At the end of this episode, I'll slap one of those songs on the end, and you can tweet at us and put the comments in and let us know how terrible it is.
Wait, you still have the original?
You're gonna lose all your viewership.
Oh yeah, I still have quite a few of the tracks, actually.
Oh my god.
Oh, I have them all still.
Before
we cut it out, though, I don't know why this popped up. Earlier when we were talking about our time at MTSU, I know these types of topics have come up on your podcast before, and we were talking earlier about when we really became friends. The minute I knew I was going to be best friends with you, John, we were sitting out by the outside I'm Coming Hall on the picnic table, and you were questioning my religious views. Because at the time, you obviously had different views.
Yeah, I was a hardcore Christian.
You asked me, like, why are you atheist? And I was like, well, I've never seen evidence of God or whatever. And they're like, you know what? You're the first atheist I've ever talked to who I won't even fight on it. Like, after our conversation, I was like, me and John are gonna be good friends.
Well,
I think we had been friends for a while at the point of that conversation, but that was a fun
for
moment.
me. It's always like, and we're going a little bit off topic, so I will try to make this short. But no, you're good. For me though, if you're gonna have beliefs, whether it's a lack of belief or you have faith in a higher power, you need to be able to defend it. Not a lot of people can do that. When I was a big Christian, I would defend my faith, and I would know things about it. It's the reason I'm an atheist now, because I've learned too much. And that I respected you because you actually had reasons. It wasn't just like, I hate going to church, I was forced to go to church, blah blah blah. Like, you actually had reasons. So I was like, okay, no, he's got legitimate reasons. You don't believe in God, that's fine. I can't force the issue on you. Now I'm an atheist, so I guess you forced your views on me.
Ironic. I always accuse Christians of forcing views. And the dog's starting to whine.
I think that's our cue. He's ready to be let out, and he's tired of hearing your voice and not getting to smell your ass. So, on that note, and literally I do mean his ass, on that note, we are going to go ahead and end this edition of the Anarchy Arena Podcast featuring our good friend, Mr. Matthew Karg. Any last words, sir?
Yes, shameless self-promotion. Please check out Shake and Break Racing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you're in the market for a new car, I can title and register in any state.
Well, there you go, folks. So that's going to cut it for this one. And again, let us know in the comments what you think of the terrible track that's going to be played here in a few seconds. So we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having me on. Bye, guys.
And there we go, guys. Episode 37 in the bag. That one was a lot of fun. It just happened to work out that our good buddy Karg was in town, and we figured, you know what? As long as he's here, man's probably got some interesting things to say, so let's let him say them. We had a lot of fun recording this one and then proceeded into a night of debauchery afterwards. That was well worth it, and so was the hangovers from most everybody in the morning. So, earlier in the episode, we mentioned that I might play a little track for you guys here at the end. And here at the Anarchy Arena Podcast, we always try our best to keep our promises. So, thank you all for listening to this episode. We will see you next time on the Anarchy Arena Podcast. And without further ado, here is a track from the band that Karg and I used to be in. This track is called The End of the Road. Yes, it's about the same place we mentioned in one of our stories. This is a very old recording. It is not the best, so bear with it. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do or don't, leave us a tweet or a comment and let us know what you thought. I'd be very interested to hear. So here you go, guys. The End of the Road.